We're going with it. What is up, everybody? I am Taylor. Welcome to my channel. I need a nap, and I've been messing with my camera trying to get the exact setup right for like 5 minutes. It's all wonky and crooked. I give up because I'm old and cranky and tired. Which brings us to today's show. If you're watching this, it's at least June 14th. I'm recording this on June 13th because I'm a cheating cheater. It's what I do lately, people. Anyways, Cranky Comic Book Review Show, worst to best. I'll get there in a second. Go to cbcawards.org. Vote for your favorite comic YouTubers. Just people that put in the work and you like watching. Whatever. Just go there and go vote. You got like a little while left. Probably like 2 months, actually, but just do it. And, yeah, let's get into this. Not the biggest stack of books this week, which is okay, but it was still a $60 week. A lot of it is because of the worst book of the week, and I'm going to get in trouble for calling this the worst book of the week, but it was, so here we go. Marvel Voices Pride, #1. It's a $10 square book. There's a couple first appearances in here, so buy it for that, but the stories, there's nothing inherently wrong with the stories. They're just kind of light and fluffy for the most part, and feel good and very short, which I get it. It's a Pride book, and that's kind of what you want, but it just sort of feels like tokenism, and like if Marvel actually gave a shit about any of these creators, they'd just give them real books to work on instead of this like once a year nonsense and bullshit. So that's kind of my diatribe on this. As far as the quality of the stories goes, yeah, it's hard to really fault it. Most of them have a message, which I get, and most of them convey that message fairly well. Are there any standouts? The Stephanie Williams one is not bad. That's one of the first appearances, and then is there any others? Not really, no. I mean, they're all okay, but there's just not a whole lot to them. Well, actually, that one's not bad either. Who did that one? There's a first appearance of a trans character who can't die. I can't remember what the name of that one is. The problem also is they just give you the creators in the very front of the book instead of just doing it. So is it Pure Spale? Everywhere? Which one is it? Big Gay Crime? I can't remember what the name. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm going to guess it's Everywhere by Shadi Potosky and art by Roberta in Granada, but I could be wrong. The titles, they're just... It's the way the book is designed and organized. I don't love that at all either, but whatever. It's a fine book. First appearances, spec on it for $10 whole. All right, next. And we're going to this one. It just was okay. It's fine. And I like it. And it's Jed MacKay. But it's Sabatini on the art, which is not Capuccio, so it doesn't have quite Capuccio's flair. This is 24 issues in, and this is a dreamy, weemy, timey-wimey, feely, goody kind of issue, sort of ish, not really. It's just there's not a whole lot to this that's surprising, really. And, like, it's sort of trying to delve into Moon Knight's psyche, but doesn't do a very good job. I don't know. I like Jed MacKay's Moon Knight. I really do. This issue is just kind of like a shrug to me. It's like, okay. Now, that said, there's nothing this week that is great. And there's nothing that week that is awful, including the Pride book. They're all kind of in the fine range. So I'm splitting really stupid hairs with this week's video. None of them are fantastic. None of them are awful. They're all just kind of meh. Which, that's kind of the nature of comics sometimes. It's like, and the nature of life, right? Most things are by definition average or median or whatever, and this is all average shit. And I don't want to knock on it too hard. I know creators try very hard and they put their lifeblood into it, and I can be an asshole. Not my intention. I just want comic books to be great, and I want creations to be great, and I know that's just my stupid ass opinion, and it is what it is, and take my opinion for what it is. Take it for a grain of salt. Don't, like, I'm not the gospel on any of this shit. So if you're enjoying a book, please enjoy it. If you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a discourse about it. I think other people do get more enjoyment out of some comics than I do, and that's fine. And the ones I do enjoy, I really do enjoy. It's just when I don't, I really kind of fucking don't. So there you go. That's anyways. I know I'm rambling 2 seconds into the vid. It's what I do, people. Sometimes. Green Lantern #2. This is better than issue #1. It's Jeremy Adams and who the hell's on the art? Hermanico? Okay. Yeah, Hermanico, one word. Okay. And there's a backup story, John Stewart. This is Hal Jordan finding his way back in the world. Here's the thing, though. the character of Hal Jordan is kind of a fucking asshole, and I think Jeremy Adams is writing him like an asshole, but he's not writing him like an asshole with consequences. He's writing him as trying to be charming, but it's not really a charming interpretation of the character, and he's just kind of a dick, and like it's just kind of you want him to get his ass kicked. You're like, okay, that's a douche move, buddy, and like this whole first 2 issues are full of douche moves. I'm gonna give it maybe one more issue. I hated issue number 1, really hated it. This is better. I took this at somebody else's recommendation that it was better, and that person was right. Thank you, Rock and Robbie Billups. But it's not great, and I think he elevated that to a level that he liked it a whole lot better than I did. Also fine, but yeah, it's I don't know. The character rubs me the wrong way. The John Stewart story actually was more interesting to me in the back up, and that was Phil Kennedy Johnson in a much shorter time period space is telling a much more interesting story. But yeah, the art is fine. It's kind of clean. Kind of reminds me of Dan Moore's art, and it's just kind of I just don't give a shit about Hal Jordan. Like maybe I just don't care about the willpower. But I do think there's a difference between willpower and assholeness. If there's a ring of asshole, that's what Hal Jordan should be wearing. An asshole ring, an ass ring. Maybe he is. Whatever he's into, doesn't matter. All right, next we got Haunt You to the End #1. Andre Moody on the art. Art is great. I love Andre Moody's art. They did art on Bunny Mask and art written by Ryan Cady, and this is okay. It's very exposition heavy for about 3/4 of the book. It's just kind of an info dump of like assembling the team and learning what the team is, and then going to a haunted island. Spoilers. That's that. Unfortunately, I kind of did just spoil the entire book. There's not much else to it. It's an info dump. You get a little bit of a cliffhanger thing at the end. You get a sort of a framing device in the beginning that doesn't get resolved in this issue, but it's, yeah. Will I be continuing with this one? No. It didn't grab me enough. It's just it's an intriguing enough thing. Like it's set in the future, which I don't know why. That doesn't really seem like it needs to be, other than if like as a story device for like to make whatever mission they're going on more perilous. Fine, but like I mean, the whole thing is just dialogue dump, and it's not awfully done. It's just if you're reading a horror book, you want some horror, right? And not like a little bit of off-panel shit that happens in here. You want it to be creepy, and you want it to have this like ambiance and air of dread, and you don't really get that. And honestly, Andre's art's not helping with that. It's a little too like staid and dull in this book. Not dull. Dull's the wrong word. It's just traditional and blocky. It's very well done. Like Andre Moody's a great artist. It's just not tonally what I'd expect from a horror book as far as the most of the art goes. So I don't know. It's all right. But, nah. All right. Are we doing it in this order? Yeah, we're doing it in this order. Whatever. I put things in order, then I switch things around sometimes because I can't make up my mind because it's how I roll, especially when things are all kind of like sort of tight like this. But whatever. Anyways, another Jed MacKay book, Doctor Strange #4. This is The Adventures of Wong and Wand, which is like a mystical branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. And there's first appearance from here too. A Pandora Peters, and maybe another character in here. I don't know, whatever. But that was in the solicit, so if you didn't read that, it is. Whatever. This is Wong and a team of people trying to like solve supernatural mysteries. It's actually more interesting than Strange has been to me. Like I would actually probably rather read a Wong and the Wand, or Wanda Wong, or Wand Dong. That's probably not what it's going to be called. But yeah, I would probably rather read that than the actual Doctor Strange. Is it great? Nah. Is it awful? No. There's the guest artist, Andy McDonald. Serviceable. You get solid panels for the most part. Sometimes the faces seem a little off, and just a little bit of like drawing Wong very young, but whatever. I guess that's Marvel. Everyone de-ages in Marvel at some point in time. But yeah, actually is a more interesting notion than like Doctor Strange has been lately, and I kind of just want to read a Wong book. It's not bad. This one maybe should go higher on the list, maybe, but it's my list and I can do what I want to. So, all right, next we have Queen of Swords. Look, I got my fingerprints all over this, and I took it out of a poly bag. Hang on, see if I can cover this and like not get banned. It's the Nike. This is a spinoff from Barbaric. and it's written by Michael Morici. Art by Corin Howell, who's a different artist than on Barbaric. And this is the story of one of the teammates. I can't remember her name. I think she's Queen of Swords. Although that's not even her. I'm not even sure who the Queen of Swords actually is in this book. It's another team book. One of the characters has a talking sword instead of a talking axe. So if you've read Barbaric at all, this is going to seem like pretty familiar to you. There's witty banter. There's a team that doesn't really get along, and they're on the quest for something. It's kind of like you're reading a D&D adventure. And it's not bad in that regard, actually. Like, it's an entertaining enough thing. It's just diminishing returns a little bit with the concept. Like, you kind of like, okay, another talking weapon that's snarky. Okay, fine. The other character in here, the witch character, is the most interesting, and this is ostensibly her story. Maybe she's a Queen of Swords. I'm not even really sure. But like it's the quest kind of tends to revolve around her. And then there's a third character who kind of is window dressing in this thus far. But they're after this big MacGuffin to do MacGuffin-y things, and then the things happen, and then they have to pivot and do other stuff because it's a D&D adventure. It's a long enough book. I mean, you get at least probably 30-some pages out of this. I don't remember how much it cost me. Oh, no, shit, this was $8. It's a lot of money. No wonder it was a $60 week for me. Maybe the non-naked cover's cheaper. I didn't look. I probably should have. It's not an $8 book. It's not. It's okay. Just read the first volume of Barbaric if you've not and read it, and that's better than this by a lot. Look, it's got a 10s in the reviews. And then there's Cursed. Okay, so yeah. It kind of goes in descending order. Volume 1 is great. Volume 2 is pretty good. Volume 3 is eh. And this is probably better than the Volume 3 of Barbaric, but it's not fantastic. So it's all right. And if you're into the mostly naked covers, then you could get that. It's just kind of, I don't know. I bought it. It was in a poly bag. It had this in front of it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm a sucker. And so I ripped it out of the poly bag, got my greasy-ass fingers all over it, and wrecked any kind of value. Because it's how I roll, people. All right, I've got a couple left here. Make sure I don't stop recording because I'm a moron. I've done that before. It's been, who let me get 1,000 followers? I don't know how the hell that happened. Thank you, but it shouldn't have happened. Clobberin Time number 4, Steve Scroachy. I'd say if you know how to pronounce it, leave a note in the comments, but that does not work well unless have written dictionaries before and really know how to write pronunciation guides. I'm going with Scroachy. That's how I would say it. I've never met the gentleman, so if I'm wrong and you're him, I apologize. I like the book. I like your art. You're finally getting to the B plot is becoming the A plot because that's we're issue number 4, and I think issue number 5 is the last one. It's a team up with Dr. Doom and thing, sort of ostensibly. Not much of a team up. Not actually a whole lot of Dr. Doom really in this one, but it's still Steve Scroachy doing like over the top, detailed shenanigans, ridiculous kind of drawings. A couple of the previous issues were my favorite books of the week they came out. And this is good. It just wasn't my favorite this week. It's not, and I think I don't know, it's just kind of the stories itself. Like this issue's tale just wasn't that interesting. Or they, like visually, all that. But the fights and the stuff that happened previously were just more interesting than what happened in this one. I mean, it's the nature of a miniseries. Every issue is going to be amazing. There are revelations in here. It's setting up to what looks like it could be a fun ending. And it's just Steve having fun with some wacky concepts. So maybe wait for Collected. But nobody reads trades, do they? I don't know. It seems like everybody has to have the individual issues because it's all speculation. I don't know, read it digitally, read it trade. Read however you want to read. I'm not just do you, boo. But whatever. It's fun. It's fun. It's fine. All right, 2 left. This is Void Rivals number 1, the spec book of the year, of the century, of the week, of the day, of the hour. It's Robert Kirkman with Lorenzo De Felici on art, and this is the big spec because I think the spec was like all of Kirkman's universes are colliding into one. That's really not the case, or if it is, it doesn't happen in this issue. Spoilers. What it is doing is combining a few properties and a few licensed things and with his own universe and stuff, and that's interesting enough. And then the story is basically Enemy Mine. It's a 1980s sci-fi story, Dennis Quaid. Pretty decent. I'd go watch it. Go watch that and then read this and tell me if I'm wrong. Except for you got basically two people crash, two aliens, two robots. You don't really know at first. They crash on the planet, and they hate each other, but they're the only people around, or things around. So whatever. That's me spoiling as much of the plot as I'm going to spoil. It's entertaining. Kirkman knows how to tell a good romp. He knows how to get you in the nostalgia feels. Not a ton happens in this issue. It's set up. And even at the setup level, it's kind of minimal setup. Like the back page, the explainy page written in the fucking god-awfully annoying light blue type instead of just a regular type and a regular non-computery font you can read more easily. That's where it all happens. So that's kind of annoying. But, I mean, yeah, the art is decent. I prefer some of the other artists that Kirkman's worked with, like Chris Samney, the person that wrote, the one that did Invincible, that artist. Stegman? Is it Stegman? I can't remember. Maybe. Whatever. I like that art better, but this art's fine. And the story itself has the potential to be pretty interesting going forward. It's just this was a set-up-y issue. Set-uppy? Whatever. And my favorite book of the week, which is a surprise to me because I was debating getting it. And it's not perfect either, but it has the most interesting concept of the week. And that is Klik Boom #1, written by Doug Wagner, art by, who is it art? Doug Dabb. So it's some Dougs, a pair of Dougs. And this is a story of an assassin. And I don't want to tell you a whole lot more about that because like part of the fun is reading this and figuring out what's going on with the main character. The Dougs do a good job of giving you a way into what's going on with this character through the use of other characters. So, like, because of the nature of the story and the nature of the main character, and if you've not read the solicits, I really don't want to spoil it, because I think it's a fun little reveal. You're kind of forced to rely on the way this character interacts with others in the book, and that's pretty well done. And it is an interesting enough idea. The art, let's see if I can open this up without being spoiler. Yeah, I probably can. So the art is kind of rough and ragged and raw in a kind of good way with a little bit of pop flair. And the story itself has the potential to be interesting. I think the biggest strength that it has is the conceit of the what's going on with the character. Like the main character is like, I don't want to say flaws, but character traits, or physical traits. That's probably the best way to do it. It's a fun book. Is it perfect? No. Do I wish a little bit more happened in the first issue? Yes. But on the strength of the idea and on the strength of like the fact that it kept me intrigued throughout this, as far as like the reader figures out fairly early on what's going on with the main character, but then it takes a while for the other characters kind of to catch up. And so I dug it, and I'm looking forward to issue #2. It's my surprise pick of the week and my favorite book of the week. So there we go. Klik Boom #1, and that's what you get. Kind of a short week. I'm gonna go not do this anymore and take a nap and I don't know, have a pork chop. Don't be a dick. See ya.